Really distracting. Voices in my head. That's where we were. We were talking about the voices in my head. Yeah. Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Gemma and I'm coming to you as always from my home in Devon. It is once again Monday and once again I'm full of the joys of autumn because my son had a fantastic first week in nursery and he asked to go to nursery this morning, and I've done my jobs and I'm time pressure free and I can just relax and talk to you about all the crafty things and yeah, just really enjoy my time without that constant like, oh, how am I doing for time? Which does actually affect how I feel when I'm recording, and I think it affects like my tone and mood and all that sort of thing. So hopefully you're seeing a difference. Yeah, it's a bit of a grey and a not day. Just as I've started recording, the clouds have converged again. We've got a yellow weather warning on. It's just about finishing the yellow weather warning. So yeah, the lighting is going to be a bit hit and miss, but that's life. How are you? Anyway, enough about me. How are you? Are you having a great week? Did you have a good weekend? What's on your needles, off your needles? What do you want me to know as we're catching up together? I am so excited because honestly, if we could just hit Control-Alt-Delete on last week's episode and pretend that I set the goals, baby, I'm nearly there. I'm so excited. Oh, I don't know where to start. Let's start with an FO, shall we? We'll start with an FO. This is Lily. Lily is a little, oh, it's not going to work so you can't see her. Here we go. Lily is a little snake from the TOFT Wild book by Kerry. I'll put a picture of the book up here. I have crocheted her in Anchor Creativa Cotton in a bright yellow colour chosen by my son Robin, and there she is. I have not stitched on the eyes. I opted for fabric pen instead. And yeah, it's riddled with mistakes, but my son loves it and I feel really proud that I have achieved a bona fide amigurumi pattern. So this was my second recent amigurumi pattern. I think it's only my third ever, my first being Elsa a number of years ago. The first one I did was the Search Press mini amigurumi animals kit. I've got a little video that I'll link down below or up here that I did a few weeks ago with a little review, and I felt really confident after that. I was like, yeah, I can do amigurumi, I can do this stuff. And I thought, well, you know, I managed an octopus with like 8 tentacles. Snake's gonna be a cinch, right? Wrong. I had so many issues with this snake. First of all, chaining into the ring, the way in which Kerry does her starting ring, the magic circle, sliding circle, whatever you want to call it in crochet. I know there are different names. Not very intuitive for me, and I found it quite difficult. So I had several false starts. I then found that it wanted to go inside out, so I was kind of crocheting around the inside, if that makes sense. It's quite hard for me to explain, but I had to essentially take the end of my crochet hook and push it back on itself when I got to about here, probably. You can see where the lump is, so that I could carry on crocheting correctly around the outside. And then I had an issue, which I spoke to you about last week, where somehow, despite, I'm sure I only increased the number of times it told me to increase, I ended up with 15 stitches instead of 12. So I was playing yarn chicken and my snake was much shorter than it should have been because I was marking off around every 12 stitches, but actually that was only 3 or 4/5 of a round. So every 5 rounds I was a full round behind, if that makes sense. And by the time I realised what was going on, I was 10 rounds behind. So I undid the whole thing and started again. And then my son didn't want to go to bed without me. I can't think what I was doing. I think it was knit night or something. Oh, I don't know. I can't remember what happened, but essentially my son didn't want to go to bed without me. I had something to do, well, I can't remember, and I said to him, when you wake up in the morning, the snake will be there and you'll know I've come and checked on you, and you'll know that it's all okay. So I sat up till nearly 2 o'clock in the morning crocheting. I think it was Friday night, crocheting this damn snake. It would have been a lot quicker had I not been watching an Amazon Prime series called The Girlfriend, which is based on a book, and it was told from two perspectives. So it's this mummy's boy, lovely lad, gets a girlfriend, and mummy and girlfriend clash, but it's told from the mummy and the girlfriend's perspectives, and you're left kind of wondering, who's the real villain here? What's going on? What side are you going to end on? And I watched the first 2 episodes, I think, on Friday night. This must have been Saturday into Sunday then. I don't even know. And then I watched the last 4 episodes that night, and I think that's what slowed me down, because once I turned the TV off, I think I was about here, I did all of that in the next kind of hour and a half. So I think I would have been much faster. The other mistake I made with this was, I'm going to be really honest here. I did not find the TOFT book easy to use. I didn't find it intuitive. I found the layout very peculiar. I flicked through, I couldn't see anything on the pattern about techniques, about how to stuff, when to stuff, how to make it up, how to close the head. When you finish it, there was nothing on there about it at all. Like, it just says, you know, last round DC 7, and that's it. There's no, and so I thought, right, okay. And so then I flicked to the beginning of the book thinking, well, because it's a whole book of animals, maybe she's got one set of instructions at the beginning that you then apply throughout the book. Yes and no. There's a lot of preamble at the beginning. It tells you about yarns, hooks, making the magic ring, her version of it. But then it says standard stuffing and making up instructions can be found on page 29. I was like, that's after the snake. And I was like, oh, okay, that kind of makes sense because it's your first project. So here's where you finish, here's how you finish it, and the rest will carry on applying. Could I see anything on page 29 about stuffing this stupid snake? No, I could not. And so then I thought, well, in that case, maybe I don't stuff the snake. Maybe I only stuff the head. And I tried using the end of my crochet hook when I got up to the head, just before I pulled it closed. I tried using the edge of my crochet hook to push some stuffing down into its body, but it wasn't really happening. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to stuff the head and the body will be fine. And it is fine because I'm using this stiff cotton. It's kind of holding its own. But if I'd used the TOFT merino, it wouldn't have been. That said, it does look a bit odd when it bends itself round. It gets a bit creased. Nevertheless, I decided done was better than perfect. And I decided that that's that. I'm going to, I wound it around my son's bedpost for him to find in the morning. And because I've been up so late, my husband got up with him in the morning and he said he was absolutely thrilled to find it. And he's called her Lily. So this is Lily the snake. So of the 2 amigurumi patterns I've done recently, my preferred one is the one from the Search Press kit, which is designed by a pretty well-known crochet designer who does a lot of these amigurumi type things. I'm going to put their name down below because it's not, I don't prefer it because it's a Search Press one. I prefer it because I prefer how it's written, and that's down to the designer. So there we go. I've not weighed her yet. I will weigh her at the end. Maybe I should have weighed her before putting the stuff. Maybe I should have weighed her before putting the stuffing in. But quite frankly, there's the tiniest nubbin of stuffing in there. I don't think it really counts for anything. But there we are. There's my snake. Hello. Okay, so I'm gonna give you a bit of a pause from the excitement levels to talk about something that wasn't on my goals list. But that I have nonetheless put a bit of work on. I'm not sure if I mentioned this last week or not, but over the last week, it has become woefully apparent that my son has decided, rather unsportingly, to have a massive growth spurt and grow out of everything. It's all of his knitwear, even the ones I just finished at Christmas. And I know that's like 9 months ago now, but still, it was meant to be up to age 4 and he's not 4 yet. And I put extra inches on. I'll show you a picture here and you might have seen it on my Instagram. You'll see what I mean. So I did the 2 to 4 age for the flax that he's wearing here. And because he's got a long torso, I added a good 3 inches onto the body. So it should have fit him until he was 4. But you can see it's just sitting at the top of his waistband and really is too short. And the merino cotton one that Jude knit for him when he was little, I think it was for his 3rd birthday or something like that, that is way too short as well. And so I'm looking at all these sweaters, I'm like, oh no, nothing fits. So I have got to frantically knit to make sure that he is equipped for this winter. I did finish one back in May that I've held back for his birthday. I'll put a picture here of him trying it on. But frankly, I might need to just dig it out and give it to him now because he needs a jumper. So what do you do when your kid grows out of 6 flaxes? You knit more flaxes. So this, if you haven't seen it before, if you haven't seen my codpasts, if you haven't seen my codpast before, you may not be familiar with my minor obsession with the flax sweater. It's my go-to. It's the same as vanilla sock, frankly, in sock knitting. This is the bog standard go-to jumper. You can knit it in kids sizes and adult sizes. You can knit it in 3 different weights of yarn. Honestly, what's not to love? It's free, it's on their app, it's on Ravelry, it's on their website. There are tutorials for everything you need, and I teach a course on how to do it in Wool on the X in Exeter. So if you're in Devon and want some help, I'm your girl. So yeah, and this is my vanilla sock sweater. I have put a fair bit of the striping on and I've almost finished striping in the green. I think I've got one more yellow stripe to do and then it's all going to be green. So the body, it's only that long at the moment. Obviously it's going to end up much longer, so yeah, there'll be loads of green, which will be great. And I'm going to mirror what I've done on the sleeves. So if you notice, rather than just swapping straight to the green at the bottom of the yoke, I've actually done 2 rounds in the yellow, or it's called lion's mane, the yellow. So the yarn, I'm really all over the place today, aren't I? I'm giddy, I'm positively giddy. Monday is now my favourite day of the week. I mean, how did that happen? Anyway, the yarn is West Yorkshire Spinners Bo Peep Luxury Baby DK. It is a 48-52 blend of marine, Falkland merino and nylon, and it is machine washable and affordable as far as the natural fibre goes, and knits up like an absolute dream and comes in a huge range of colourways. It is also widely available in pretty much every area of the United Kingdom and obviously online. So I'm using Lion's Mane and Safari Park, or I think it's Lion's Mane and Safari Park. So yeah, so I actually did 2 rounds in the Lion's Mane so that when I pick up for the sleeves, I can do 2 rounds on the sleeves, and then I will be in the position to put in the green, and that'll be fine. And then I can mirror what I've done on the body on the sleeves, and I hope that I've got enough. So there's that one. Okay, so this is majorly exciting. I don't think you ever thought you'd see the day, did you? I don't think you did. Sorry, I suddenly got really cold, so I've put my jumper back on. But anyway, it's really hot this morning because of all the running around I've been doing. It's almost like pretend sweater weather. It's windy, it's rainy, but it's still too warm. Anyway, I bet, as I was saying, I bet you never thought you'd see this day come, but look at this. Ah, can you see? The back looks longer than the front, but I'm sure it isn't. That is bugging me, something rotten. I think it's because the slip stitch is pulling things up. I'm sure it'll be fine when I sew it together. But yeah, there is the Hopscotch jumper. Almost finished. I've done the neckband. So I sewed up the shoulder seams last night, and they're not the most beautiful. There is still obviously a seam there, but how I did it was almost like duplicate stitching. So, oh, hello. If I can get close enough to the camera and find something with which to demonstrate. Right, here you go. Here's a crochet hook. So what I did was I brought my Oh, for goodness sake, come on, focus on that, not me. Come on. So I brought my needle up here with my yarn, and I went round the back of the next stitch and then down in the same place, and then brought it up here and went round. So I was doing it over the seam. So you can see there's still a seam inside, but the idea was that it wasn't that visible. And I've not really, there are some bits where it looks pretty good and pretty almost seamless, but it's not, I don't know, I think I need to book myself into a finishing course. There's a fantastic professional finishing course at the local yarn shop that I teach at, and I think that might be the thing. But I mean, overall, I'm pretty pleased with that as a finish. I don't think that's too bad. I don't know if when I wash and block it, if it'll improve. It's kind of like a little bit like Kitchener stitch, that sort of grafting. Yeah, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I was pulling it too tight. Maybe because it's stepped, that's made a difference. I don't know, but I'm not too disappointed with that as a seam. It's not too, I mean, there are seams on everything, aren't there? But there we are. So I did that last night, and now what I've got to do is sew the sleeves in. I had a bit of a situation whereby my stitch markers were like up here, and when I folded it over, I thought there is no way a 10-year-old's going to get their arm through that. I think my 4-year-old would struggle. Then I reread the pattern and remeasured, and it turns out the arms come down here. So much better. So I've got to put the sleeves in and then sew it up, and then it would have been done, except for silly me decided to ask the recipient if he wants the hood or no hood. Have I got the book? Yeah. Here, look. I've got the book, and I'll show you what I mean. The way in which it has you do this pattern is that you knit the hood and attach it after you've done this neckband. So essentially you could do it as a hoodless sweater if you wanted. So I asked, I sent a picture of the sweater as it is to the recipient's mum, and I said, does he want a hood or no hood? And he has requested a hood. It's a little bit more knitting. But do you know what? I've come this far. I've done this much. I need to sew up the rest of the jumper and knit the hood, and it will be fine. He has asked for it to be inverted, so grey with the rainbow edge. And I'm hoping I've got enough of the grey left. That's about 70 grams. So I'm hopeful that that's enough, because this is the 3rd grey ball. So it's taken 2 and a bit balls to do this whole jumper. So I should be all right. But that's from the Colourlab Kids book, which I don't think I've ever shown you because I'm always losing the book. So it's by West Yorkshire Spinners, and I absolutely love this book. I love the yarn, and I'm really enjoying the pattern. Not that you'd think it, considering it's taken me nearly 4 years to knit. Okay, the final bit of excitement I've got for you is the Emmanuel tee. I am on the bind off for the body. I'm on the bind off. I had thought I might be able to start binding it off, or maybe even finish binding it off before recording this afternoon, but I haven't. But that's fine. I can enjoy doing that tonight. I did put it, if I hold it up for you, you can see it is longer. Hooray! I did put it on barber cord and have my husband take a few pictures, which I'll put up here just to see the length, And I put it out to Instagram to find out what people thought. Most people came back and said, do you know what, it's the right length, get it cast off. I mean, to be honest, I don't know if it's really the right length or if people are just so sick of hearing about this sweater. I mean, I only cast it on in June, so I think it's July, August, September. It's only 3 months, so only 3 months so far. Next weekend it'll be 3 months, so I would love to actually get this finishing off the needles for next weekend, if I'm honest. There you go, get setting goals again. What am I like? I don't know. Just so that I can wear it a little bit with the transition. I don't know if it will grow with blocking. I don't know if I'm going to bother blocking it, if to be honest with you, because I'm a little bit of a maverick. Okay, so that is my big excitement. I have worked on another couple of little things. I found the yarn for this crochet blanket. Might be the 7th crochet blanket. There we go. So this one is just all my leftovers of all the West Yorkshire Spinners self-striping. It's going to look chaotic and mad, but I don't mind. It's going to be kind of like a memory blanket, if you will. So we've got pheasant, and then we've got, oh, what's this one? Kingfisher with a little bit of orange and then the blues. And then this one is Tequila Sunrise. So those are the West Yorkshire Spinners ones I've put in there so far, and that is going to be a chaos blanket essentially, and that's fine. I've also done a bit more work on my sock. So this is my second sock. You can see I have now turned the heel and I am whizzing down the gusset. I've not got much left of this first ball of yarn, so I am going to have to find the yarn and join on the second one, but that means one of my Christmas pairs of socks will be finished, and then I can get on with Alan's second sock. That's good going. And then I needed something a little bit more mindless when I was out and about. I can't think where I was now. Regardless of which, I needed something a little bit more mindless. So this is Winter Icicle, which is a Winwick Mum colourway for West Yorkshire Spinners. And I've just cast on and done a few rounds of this sock, which looks teeny tiny actually. Have I even got enough stitches on it? Right, okay, so I do have enough stitches on there, but I think what I'm wondering, oh no, that looks quite small as well now. Oh, I don't know. Ignore me. I was just wondering if the sparkle in the Christmas yarn affected the gauge, because the sparkle's quite rigid. So maybe it does. Maybe it does. I don't know. So that's all the crafty stuff I've got to talk to you about this week. I've got seriously itchy needles. I am absolutely desperate for a new cast on. But in my head, I'm like, but you're doing so well with the snowball method and your whips are reducing and the whip walk of shame is coming up. But I wanted it to be authentic. I don't want to like change my making or the way I make, or I still want to follow the joy. Just because I know I've got the whip walk of shame revisited coming up, I shouldn't be, I don't know, changing my behaviour for the sake of a video. Do you not think? So I don't know whether when I get this hoodie cast off, I'm going to treat myself to a cheeky cast on or not. I am desperate to cast something new on. Absolutely desperate. I know I've picked a project that I know I'm going to really enjoy and in theory should be quite easy. But in the back of my mind, I've got this little voice going, but you've got that to finish and you've got that to finish and they both need finishing for this season to send to the yarn shop. And then there's this other little voice going, yes, but you also need to finish your niece's Christmas dress and cast on your son's Christmas jumper and your nephew's Christmas jumper. And Alan does need his second sock. Anyway, I've got all these little voices going off in my head. The voices in my head. Sorry, Jude's just texted me and it's flashed up across the screen and it just said big news, which obviously completely distracted me. I'm not going to tell you what that big news is. You have to watch his channel and find out. But anyway. Yeah, really distracting. Voices in my head. That's where we were. We were talking about the voices in my head. Yeah. Oh my God. Delirious on a Monday afternoon. Voices in my head, casting off. That was it. I have an idea and I wanted to float it by you because for the last 2 years, I've kept this channel really, really casual. I've not put myself under any pressure. I've not like set deadlines. I've not done make-alongs. I've shut down all groups associated to it. So it's just really simple and manageable and on YouTube. But I was wondering how you felt about a make-along. Just for fun sort of make-along. I was wondering who might, in theory, want to join in. And the basic premise is, I had a really cute name for it as well. And if I remember it, I'll put it on the screen here. But yeah, essentially it's like a shawl make-along. And I know obviously the Stephen West make-along is coming up. And as I'm saying this, I'm like, oh, Lee, I'm so sorry, because Lee is going to video call me in a minute and to plan, as she thinks, what yarns I'm going to use and she's going to use, but what I'm going to use for the Stephen West make along. I'm really sorry, Lee, if you're finding out like this, because I don't think I'm going to tell you on the video call. I'm not going to do it. I was thinking instead, I really want to do the Stephen West make along, but then the last one took me 3 years and I loved the process. But then I started thinking about all these other shawls that I've got patterns for already that I've bought or that are in my queue. I've still got a couple cast on. I've got the Snow Day shawl. Is it just the Snow Day shawl? I've got the Snow Day shawl. I've got some other shawls that I'm really interested in or I've bought patterns for over the years. And so I was thinking maybe a shawl along, a full shawl along. Full shawl along. I think I can't say it, so that probably shouldn't be the title, should it? But a full shawl along was what I was thinking. And everyone just, it can be an existing whip that you want to work on, or it can be a brand new pattern. It could be something that's been in your queue for a while. It can be something you've been promising yourself you'll do and haven't done. It could be finding an unsung hero, like a new shawl from a new designer to you. Just super casual, like we're not doing prizes or anything like that because I'm logistically terrible. I want to keep it casual, but I was thinking that I could reopen the Ravelry group and maybe we could post pictures there if you wanted, or reopen the Facebook group, or we could do it even more casually than that. I've already got a Facebook page for my channel. So each week I could put a full shawl post up and you can pop your pictures and things below it, or we could do a pinned post or something like that and you can share what you're making. And then if you were happy, I could do a gallery on like at the end of September, the end of October, the end of November and the end of the year to share what you've been making if you fancied it. So yeah, let me know what you think below. Your keyword this week is for shawl. For shawl, I'll put it up here, and you can let me know if you are in or out, or if you would just eagerly watch what everyone else is getting up to. Of course, if you think it's just a terrible idea, I mean, maybe say it a little bit more gently because I'm only human, but also just let me know that as well. I hope you've really enjoyed your time with me this week. I have plans for next week's video. I've wittered on too long, so I'll just skip. Let me know anything below and I will see you next week. Have a great week. Take care. Bye.